and you can't stop what's destined to happen. Then go to class, but the trap is still the distance subtraction. Cop a pack and then double the.
Alright, so this video is really going to be for the people that don't know what's really going on with this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, information about the game, like the story and all that shit. And, so we're going to hop into this really quick, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Game Ranks for this video as well, you know what I'm saying? Always dropping some good-ass info. Let's hop into it.
Every once in a while, something very encouraging happens in the Star Wars gaming space, and although it hasn't been often since EA took over, one of those things just happened.
True.
Hi folks, it's Falcon.
True.
And today on Game Ranks, let's talk about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So we've known about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for a while. According to official descriptions, it's an action-adventure game set after Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, where you develop your Force abilities, hone your lightsaber techniques, and explore the ancient mysteries of a long-lost civilization, all while staying one step ahead of the Empire and its deadly Inquisitors.
See, that's going to be fun because you can actually develop your skills as a... Because, you know, he was a Padawan. The main character is a Padawan. You know what I'm saying? So he's still developing his, you know, his Force abilities and all that shit. So that's going to be fun to do. Going in an adventure. I wonder if it's a free roam game. I don't know. But if it is like free roam-ish, that would be sick. That would be fucking crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? We never had a free roam Star Wars game, like legit free roam. Single player. You know? I mean, yeah, on PC, the Old Republic and shit like that, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But on console, hell no. Not at all.
But we just got to kind of see the dirt of it. So let's go ahead and start off by saying the main character's name is Cal.
Cal, yeah.
Padawan. They were not a full Jedi at the time of Order 66.
Exactly.
The order the Emperor gave that was essentially genocide all of the Jedi. Jedi-side, perhaps. And Cal goes into hiding. Now, Cal is played by Cameron Monaghan, who is from Gotham and Shameless. In Gotham, you may know him as the Joker /
Absolutely.
Jeremiah. And Monaghan says he believes the story is relatable, human, and something that people are going to latch onto, which is encouraging. The person portraying the character, liking the character and story is, of course, a good thing.
This is going to be
It
good.
does seem a lot like we're getting a straightforward
so.
good guy. That being said, he is deemed a bad guy by the Empire, and being the Empire has control of the galaxy, it's not so good when, where he's hiding out doing work at a scrapyard, an accident forces him to reveal that
his fucking
he
force
has force powers.
Exactly.
This makes him a target of the Imperial Inquisition, which will see various specific characters, for instance, the second sister, who actually is from the Dark Lord of the Sith comic from a couple years ago. She's a member of the Jedi Order that fell to the dark side and now, of course, works for the Empire, as well as the Purge Troopers, which are more or less a squad of people who are out to kill Jedi. According to the game developers, functionally they'll operate more like a beefy stormtrooper, where stormtroopers will go down with one slash of a lightsaber, a purge trooper may not. Now, speaking of
the
combat,
shits, basically.
a quote from the developers has me intrigued. They've said, internally, we call the combat from the game thoughtful combat. You have to identify your enemies and exploit their weaknesses. Now,
thank God.
that's not a new idea. A lot of action games, more or less, fall on that, but not a lot of action games have been described as having thoughtful combat.
Right.
So for me, that's kind of interesting verbiage to get from them. Some other things they noted is that various enemies require different approaches. For instance, Purge Troopers will be brought in whenever there's a rumor of Jedi being around. They're supposedly there to weaken the Jedi for when the Inquisitors show up. The Inquisitors either being Force sensitive themselves or trained in a manner that can actually take a Jedi on. Obviously, we won't know exactly what that means until we see some gameplay footage.
Absolutely.
And even then, we may not know entirely, but we did not see any of the game footage. But the footage we did see was not computer generated, and it was all in-engine, Unreal Engine, might I add, not Frostbite, which is a very conspicuous choice, given it is an EA developed
Frostbite.
title. Now, given this is a Jedi game, obviously combat is going to focus on the lightsaber and force powers, which for me makes me think that this game may end up playing out a lot like Force Unleashed.
I hope so.
I think
just a little better.
Undeserved guff. Is it the best story we've ever heard in the Star Wars universe? Absolutely not, but it is a joy to play.
Good gameplay.
My inkling is that they're probably going to sort of think about how they can make a game like that, but perhaps adapt it to a few more modern conventions and give us a story that makes a single-player, story-oriented narrative game worthwhile.
Exactly. If this game, if Jedi Fallen Order is like, you know, great gameplay, good story, we good. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. We gonna be straight. You feel me? That's just me, though. That's just me. Let's hop back into it.
Speaking of which, this is a single-player, story-oriented narrative game. In addition to being an action game, you'll purchase this game, and that'll be it. There are no microtransactions in it. It is a narrative experience.
Good.
You know, a video game. I saw somebody who was commenting on this game call that a throwback, and I found that very disturbing. This is kind of the thing you want out of Star Wars, the ability to exist in the Star Wars world and kind of live through a wild ride involving the Empire.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that multiplayer games like Star Wars Battlefront don't have a place in the Star Wars universe. They certainly do, and usually the Battlefronts
lame now.
Are pretty good. They're no original Battlefront series, but whatever. It's awesome to be seeing a single-player AAA game with some degree of potential at all. Isn't that weird? Like, we see totally narrative games without combat, sure, yeah. But an action game that's actually centered around a narrative, we don't see a lot of that nowadays.
Exactly!
So I'm pretty stoked just on the idea that A, we're getting this type of a game, and B, it's gonna be a Star Wars game. And you know, let's throw in a C and say it's a Star Wars game that looks good just immediately. Like, it'll probably get released and be good instead of have to have a bunch of people get super angry at it and them change things for it to be passable, which is something that's sad to be excited about, but I am. And a big reason for that is I really like experiencing Star Wars stories in the way that single-player video games kind of do it. You end up seeing places that aren't necessarily in the movies. For instance, some of the concept art for this game shows a jungle planet, one not unlike Endor, but in some ways also not unlike Dagobah.
Exactly.
A sort of swamp jungle, which I'm there
like
for.
a mixture.
I want to see that. I want to find out what it's doing, why it's there, how it fits in with the rest of the Star Wars universe. One of those ways is going to be various droids you see. We've seen some of the K2SO style Imperial security droids, which makes sense on account this game would take place in the same era as the movie Rogue One, the time in between episode 3 and episode 4 where the Empire is sort of consolidating power as an empire.
That makes sense.
But there's another droid very specific to your experience in the game called BD-1. BD-1 is Cal's companion. Now, in some ways, it seems a little bit like BD-1 is intended to be a character alongside kind of also being a not annoying Na'vi from Ocarina of Time.
Like a
environmentally
R2-D2 type nigga.
Assistant. Well, also, the developers have noted that BD-1 is specifically Cal's best friend and not a sidekick. Now, I think a particularly interesting and cool thing is that God of War 3's director, Stig Asmussen, is directing this game. That kind of thing is funny to me because the first thing I thought of when somebody said, hey, there's a AAA single-player game coming, my brain said, oh, God of War. That was the last really big one. You know, excluding Nintendo titles. Just to repeat, there is no multiplayer, there are no microtransactions, which really has me excited. I wish there were more games outside of the first-party space that considered doing this in the AAA level of games. But as far as getting a Star Wars one that actually seems to be an interesting chase story about various Jedi hiding out, trying not to be found by the Empire after it gave the order to exterminate all of them, I'm there. I really want to play this game. Respawn,
you're not the only one, my guy.
Stig Asmussen, I trust him as a director, and overall, this is a really promising development. Whatever happens, we'll find out more at E3 and with the eventual release on November 15th when the game releases simultaneously on Xbox, PlayStation 4, and PC. Let's hope it doesn't get screwed up in some way. What do you think? What are you excited for in this game? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed...
Hey, man. I'm just ready, bro. I'm ready for November. That's all I'm ready for. Well, that's not the only thing, because we got Days Gone, Mortal Kombat, such and such, you know what I'm saying? But hey! But this is for the people that didn't really know a lot about the game and stuff like that. Everything that we needed to know, basically. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you enjoyed this video, want more content, you feel me, as you're gonna get regardless, definitely like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please turn on notifications to get notified when I upload and stream, man. You know what to do. It's your boy JosephWitty. I'm out of here. Yeah.
Smooth just like a symphony, got killers down the symphony. I still post in the trenches, guess the capture's not so in the street. I see red coming for your head, cabby bout his red. My man got luck, then he hit